Yo, what's up, guys? What is up? Happy Thursday. Hope you guys are doing well. I am like extra exhausted today. Don't know why. Well, I do know why, but we're going to push through it. Do that. Just muscle on through. But yeah, a couple stuff I saw. Hey, Chaos Smash, what's up? Hello. But yeah, we got some stuff to talk about, or at least just get some input and comments out. Of course, I'm seeing people already talking about Resident Evil 4 remake, and of course, the censorship behind it. We've got Rick and Morty, Justin Roiland, case getting dismissed. So we can talk about that a little bit, and then just see what else happens to catch our eye. The like button has been violated by me. Ha ha ha. That's Chaos Smash. Uh-oh. Well then. What can we do? I can't do anything. I didn't see it. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's see. What do we want to start off with? Let's start off with the Resident Evil. Over in bounding into comics. Pull that sucker up. Joe might join us a little bit later, maybe some other peeps. All right. Well, if I'm looking over here to read it, that doesn't work. Hey, Ty. Ah, yes, the Resident Evil, my favorite evil. Resident Primeval Titan. I remember that was a card from Magic the Gathering. It was the forced one. He was actually really good. Whenever he entered combat or attacked, you would search your life deck for 2 lands and place them into play tapped. Pretty damn good. I think the Resident Evil 4 remake is bad. It gets worse with Capcom, but I'll tell you later. Hey, Shaney, what's up? What is up? Yeah, Joe might be joining us later. I think he said kid problems. But we'll go ahead and take a look at Resident Evil 4. I mean, you can already tell right away. Ashley's big change is obviously her outfit. Not much. Joe told me he's going to be on tonight. Yep. He should be. But he'll hop on later probably. I'm going to move this over this way. Hopefully this works. This, man, I actually do have another monitor just sitting down on the floor. I need to I do have a wall mount, but I don't know how the apartment complex would feel like. Come on, Windows, fucking snap to the right of my monitor. There we go. Well, that doesn't help at all because now, oh my gosh, I need to adjust this. Oh my gosh, it actually adjusts when I adjust. I mean, because now I can't see like people on the side. This fucking sucks. There we go. Good enough. Joe says, be there soon. What up? Damn it, Bill Gates, get your shit together. Fucking Bill Gates, man. He's too busy buying farmlands for himself to push another vaccine or whatever fucking stupid shit he does. All right, let's check this out. So the title caught my interest right away because it says the gamer praises censorship of Ashley's outfit in Resident Evil 4 remake, claims original game's panty shots encourage misogynistic behavior in real life. Ah, yes, the old cliche and outdated and overdone argument that video games influence people to do a bunch of other stupid shit and stuff, which the time and time again, the data has showed the exact opposite. Like, I remember watching, what was it? Not Ed Sullivan, the Michael Douglas show. Mo Howard from the Three Stooges was on, and he actually talked about how like he talked with a child psychiatrist and pretty much was like, hey, do like kids when they see Three Stooges act, do they just go out and start doing Three Stooges stuff and like hurt themselves? And the child psychiatrist was like, no, because in the end, um, it's no different than them watching a Western and going out and like getting a gun and start, doing whatever. It all depends on the person. So if they're trouble to begin with, that's what it is. Hey, Rose, it keeps fucking up the stream. Your internet is bad? Oh, I'm sorry. The modern day video game violence excuse. Yeah, like it's that stupid garbage. I have no idea who the game, like what the gamer is. It already probably sounds like garbage. The gamers claim that censoring Ashley's outfit in Resident Evil 4 Remake is a good thing, as it could potentially prevent real life misogyny. Oh my gosh, dude, it is not video games' responsibility to control people on how to fucking act out their life. Oh my gosh. Hip hop causes violence, so does rock music. It's ridiculous. I mean, rap is interesting though, because when you're constantly being pumped that you need to distrust the police and all that shit, you know, then there's something to be there too. But ultimately in the end, it's like, people are responsible for their own fucking actions. It's getting it's the same retarded talking point over and over. I once believed the VG violence excuse, never again. I mean, again, it all comes down to the person. Like, if the person has problems, there might be something that influences them. But then again, it's like, it's a video game. Doesn't hurt anybody. It's weird because most serial killers were sheltered growing up. Yeah, and most serial killers are like, were overly overprotected. What was it? Ted Bundy didn't like he like went around and start murking people when his mom died or something. Anywho. Ghetto rap definitely promotes violence, but then again, I think it's trash. I mean, when that's an interesting one because getting off topic, with that sort of stuff, it's interesting because the left try to say that that's actually part of their culture. And if it's like, okay, if literally rap music is part of your culture, what are the rap lyrics saying? And then you have the same fucking themes over and over and over again. If that's what you're saying, that's a really like, that's not good. you know? Bundy's mom was alive even after his execution. Bundy murdered people when his first girlfriend broke up with him in college. Maybe it wasn't Bundy. Maybe I'm thinking of Jeffrey Dahmer. One of the serial killers I know was like super infatuated with his mom. I thought he like made a shrine or something like that. That might have been Dahmer. Dahmer's mom is still alive to this day. Damn, that's crazy. All right, so prevent real life misogyny. Oh boy. The video game outlet has already produced 4 different articles praising. Wait a minute. 4 different articles praising that gamers could no longer upskirt Ashley. So only one comic made 4 articles praising on how the censorship is awesome. Oh my gosh. No, you're thinking of the co-ed killer, Edward, whatever the hell his name was. Ed Gein. Yeah, Ed Gein. Ed Gein had the mom issues. Yeah, dug her up to live with 3 bodies. Yeah, he had a belt made of nipples. Woohoo! Part of their culture, so all black people are game bangers, is what you're saying. That's what I'd say. No, not Ed Gein. Well, my goodness, we're listing off all these serial killers. I'm sure one of them was like, like obsessed. But in any case, Ed Kemper. I'm pretty sure it's one of those three. He was the inspiration for the Texas Chainsaw shit. Yeah, Ed Gein was. Or don't forget Albert Fish. We're talking about serial killers and Joe is not here. I know Joe Ball is not here. Oh, what was his what was Joe Ball the serial killer's title? Joe Ball. The Alligator Man and the Butcher from Elmendorf and the Bluebeard of South Texas. There we go. But we're getting distracted with from apparently Resident Evil 4 helping stop misogyny with serial killers. The video game outlet has already produced 4 different articles praising that gamers are no longer can no longer upskirt Ashley. In the original Resident Evil 4, Ashley would berate Leon for it, including if it was only from Leon's perspective and not the game's camera. The gamers James Trofton called those who got mad over the change idiots. Let me guess, James, I doubt you've ever played the game. When reporting on the censorship, author Stacy Henley defied Ashley's underwear in Resident Evil is not censorship and that angry gamers had bastardized the term censorship. Hey, speaking of possible serial killers, we've got Joe. He's made it. Welcome.
I have never killed anybody, but pro tip, always bury them under a fence line. They never look under the fence lines.
Under the fence line. Dude, just find a big ass quarry and, tie a rock around the ankle and just chuck that sucker down there. They're not going to dive down there to get him.
Yeah. The cops are like, that looks like way too much work for my taste.
We are just covering this article I saw on Bounding Into Comics talking about Resident Evil 4 Remake and the censorship.
Yeah.
Yeah, and already it's starting off retarded because they're claiming that by doing this, they're combating misogyny.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because back in the old one, you could just take a peek up of Ashley's skirt and then she gets pissed at you. And as you can see,
even though they built in an appropriate response from a woman, where you're peeping, they still had to change it, I guess.
I don't know. As you can see, they already changed her her outfit, so it's not the here. Let's get a comparison. Here, let's Ashley Graham, I believe.
I hope your Caps win tonight, Shani. Shani, I hope your Caps win tonight. She's a hockey fan.
Oh, is she? Well, that's not helpful.
Girl likes when dudes smack the puck with that stick and wear ice skates at the same time.
Oof.
Hectic sport.
Here we go. Oh man, they're really pushing that remake. Because I'm getting some not safe for work stuff. Oops.
Uh-oh.
Don't want to show that. Oh, here we go. Here's a picture. I mean, all they're bitching about is the skirt. Other than that, I don't really have a problem with the outfit, mostly because I just don't care. But here's there's the original. So
yeah,
there you go. And now you got that.
Now which Resident Evil is this for?
This
Remake?
is 4. This is the one that catapulted it into where it's going now with the over the shoulder sort of shooting or gameplay, I should say. And they already remastered it, then they redid it for virtual reality, and now they're remaking it. So they're just going ham. I'm wondering how much of women power is fisted into this game.
You know how it goes, dude. They have to take anything that was good and replace it with something worse than the thing they're trying to replace. It's like, don't pray, meditate. It's like, why? I already pray. Why would I replace it with something stupid?
I know.
They always want you to replace something good with something dumb and retarded.
Ty says the real question is Ashley still fucking annoying? Because she was hella annoying in the OG series. She was. What the fuck? I don't get why whenever I click hide one, it pops up another one. Sorry. I'm
All
gonna
comments.
get. I'm gonna guess they probably toned down. My guess right now is they demanded that she be more powerful. So at some point, Leon's gonna rescue her and she's gonna be like, I was doing just fine, or some bullshit like that, even though like she was about to be like sacrificed. That's the whole point why she was grabbed, so that they could put the virus in her. Similarly, writer Jade King wrote how Resident Evil 4 is no longer sexualizing its women is a good thing, insisting Ashley dots on Leon like a wide-eyed, weirdly horny puppy in the original game. I mean, he's a hot man. Why wouldn't you be all puppy-eyed on him? Comparatively, Ada Wong's former fitting jumper and arguably chest-emphasizing harness is championed as incredible and practicable. All right, I'm gonna have to see these like new ones. Oh, this is followed by how female characters can look sexy, dominant, and powerful without falling victim to the male gaze or giving away her confidence in service of sexualization. But that's the whole point. Like, especially with Ada, she uses her sexiness to like disarm people and like make people guessing and stuff like. What is with this fascination of just wanting like women to just not be hot and just like, why even stop? Just make her fucking
They
fat.
only don't want it in spaces that are not pornography. If you're a chick and you're willing to show your butthole to the entire world for $7, liberals will champion you.
Mm-hmm.
It's pathetic. It's sad and pathetic. And it's like sexualized female characters like for Resident Evil. I've never really heard anyone bring it up to begin with. Like Resident Evil fans, that was really not a talking point on why they liked the game to begin with. It was just part of the story, but it wasn't like it's not like you're sticking it to a bunch of gamer dudes. They're gamer dudes. They're looking for a fun game.
Yeah, and like there's actually still people out there who will say I like the original. When I say original, well, yeah, original, but what they mean is I like how Resident Evil was in the past. You had your zombie, I'm not a big fan of the tank controls. Some people like it, but we're talking about that sort of like camera angle stuff, and a lot of it was based on the puzzle solving and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like literally a scare element to it. Even with the outdated graphics, it still makes you uneasy and nervous and stuff like that. But now it's becoming more action based and stuff like that. And of course, with the mo capture and everybody looking more realistic and stuff, they're praising it and stuff like that. But at this point, to me, it's like if that's just a standard, that should like who cares about that anymore? In fact, if a game has bad graphics nowadays, like it shouldn't have even been made because that's not a target.
When are they going to stop sexualizing this guy?
Nice.
I'm sick of sexualizing Mario. It's disgusting. It makes me sick of the feminine gaze. I've had enough of it. I'm talking to you, Shane. I'm kidding.
No.
She's always sexualizing Mario with her pervert mind.
Ty says, don't let you upskirt Ashley, yet she's a useless character that gets captured every 3 minutes. Yeah, what else are we supposed to do? I mean, the funniest thing is when you aim at her and she like ducks and like, oh my gosh, don't shoot me. That's always funny. Janie says, as a chick, being hot is a chore more often than not. Those who struggle with it get self-conscious. That's all I can think. I'm one of those girls, but not anime is hot anime. I see what I get what you're saying.
She knows what's up.
Dudes want to
She's a
play a
smart
porn
one.
video game. We will play a porn video game. Damn it, we don't need cheap
Yeah.
upstarts. Well, I mean, yeah, the way the industry is now, like, I actually remember being back in college, learning 3D animation and stuff. Like one of my professors straight up said, like, if you're looking to as a potential job of anything, I mean, he pretty much said, like, look into the 3D porn industry, because that was starting to become a big thing. Let's see. Tesla Car also attempted to convince readers that not being able to look up characters' skirts is a win. On the same day King's editorial was published, Carr asked, when will gamers stop feeling entitled to creep shot female characters?
I don't know when will the people that develop the game stop feeling entitled to lop off little kids' private parts?
Mhm.
You tell me, weirdos. You're the ones concerned about the least thing worth being concerned about here.
See, but the main thing is all these people bitching, like, and writing these articles, I guarantee you aren't fans of the
No,
franchise.
of course not.
Let
They've probably never even played these games.
Exactly. Like, this is the thing, is these people are just fucking pulling bullshit out of their ass. And unfortunately, it's been infected. The video game industry has been infected by these idiots who don't have any idea talking about. And I mean, plus you're saying this to the Japanese who do a bunch of crazy stuff. They don't care.
Yeah.
All right. So goes on to quote, I'm not sure why gamers feel the need to look up the skirts of animated female characters just to get their rocks off. Car mocks. Yeah,
They
but
don't. Nobody's masturbating to it. I hate to break it to you, writer. Like, that's too much work.
well, and then these people would be the first to go around saying, stop body shaming people on OnlyFans or the porn industry. I do not get these people. I do not get these people at all. They say one thing in one area, but then but you'll see them talk about another area where it's like, oh, don't, my body, my choice. If I want to show my gaping asshole on OnlyFans, I should be able to. And it's like, eh.
Well, it's because they have no actual principle. It's just
Yeah, it's
whatever they feel like. We're talking about a bunch of degenerates trying to pretend as if they're moral, as if they have some moral compass that anyone should acknowledge. It's like, but why would I listen to you? You don't have a moral compass, writer of this article. You're just
yeah,
a retard.
then that's like, it's always whenever I like read a comment about like an atheist or a non-believer like commenting on the Bible, it's like you probably never even read it, and I'm supposed to like take your way of analyzing it like and think it's the end all be all. No.
Well, they always think they're schooling you with something that they don't even know what they're saying. It's like, you're not impressing anybody here. You
Plus
just look
they're
like a retard again.
Plus, they're unoriginal as well, because it's like, oh my gosh, I haven't heard that argument before. In fact, there's been
Yeah,
people that've like already countered that argument, but you're just too lazy to go actually talk to those people because you would get your ass handed to you.
like, yeah, I've heard every 16-year-old that was forced to sit in church for an hour and a half every Sunday. I've heard that from all of you. You sound like people that just got out of school. It's just silly. They don't realize they sound like retarded children when they speak. And when I say children, I mean, like, teenagers.
Oh yeah. There's more to this quote. The reaction to remasters or remakes covering up characters' panties is usually that this is woke PC bullshit. It is. Or censorship. Uh, it is. I mean, if that's what the Japanese wanted it to do and to show, and they did originally, and you're changing it, then yes, it is censorship. So, you know, you may not like what it originally did, but if that's what they wanted to show, that's what they want to show. And that they're taking a crucial part of the game's appeal away. Okay, sex sells. I'm sorry. Like, you look at any, and I've said this before, you look at any magazine, any advertisement that you see on there, what is one of the themes that are probably going to show up? Sex. Sex, money, and power. Those are like the three themes you can find in any advertisement. And hate to tell it to you, I mean, but this is getting off topic here, but like going to the extreme of making like hot women like fucking fat and ugly and stuff like that. One that one that doesn't sell, and it will never sell. And if it does sell, it only sells to people who have really low standards. And two, like again, that's part of how you get people to actually buy the game, is using that sex appeal sort of thing. And when it comes to the Japanese, we've seen we've seen there's way more insane stuff out there than just a quick look up of a panty shot, you know?
Like, here's the thing. Like, I personally, if I was doing a game or even like on my comic book, like, sexual themes are not really part of it. Like, yeah, characters procreate and stuff, but I don't need to tell you how they did it. You should know at this point in your life how that worked out. So it's not like it's a necessity or something that has to be there. It's that they're using that as an excuse to chip away at a game that has a huge following from the way it was, not from this new version that some mentally ill person wants to bring to the table as if it's superior. It's like, but you guys, you don't know what you're talking about. You're not qualified. You're not good at your jobs. You cause problems everywhere you go. So nobody's going to take you seriously. Stop getting mad because people don't take non-serious people not seriously. It's exhausting at this point, and it's become so exhausting now. Like, I was trying to put something in perspective for somebody. They were complaining about 1 million downvotes on the Little Mermaid trailer.
That was hilarious.
Well, here's the thing. It's like, look, that's not even like 10% of the country. So that's barely 1%. Barely. It's you're talking about 349 million people in this country didn't even care enough to like or dislike or even comment. So it's not racism. It's that people are so indifferent to your trashy content that they will not even give you an opinion because they don't even pay attention anymore. You know, I get that a lot of things like 3, 5, 6 million viewers is a lot of people for like a TV show or something like that. Like, that's a huge show, but it's still not like representative really of most people, liberal or, you know, conservative or in whatever in between. It's just, it's like, no, people aren't racist. They're apathetic. They don't give a shit no more. It's exhausting and tiresome. But go ahead. I just popped into my mind.
No, that's you're exactly right. One, people just don't care. Two, this is what happens when you don't live outside of Twitter. Twitter is your world, and you're basing the numbers of Twitter as like the world. And it's not even like fucking close to what the real world is, because the real world is exactly what you just said. People do not give a shit. They just want to be left alone. Oh, and Shane,
you don't even want me to bring in global numbers. Then it's even more insignificant. You know, like insignificance been like my word the last 2 days. I feel like it describes so many things in 2023, especially entertainment related. But, you know, even outside of that, it's just like, but this is just, it doesn't matter. You're trying so hard to give people a perception that all liberals think everyone's racist when it's probably not true. And that all conservatives hate blacks, which is obviously not true. You know, it's weird. Hey, congratulations, Shaney. I'm glad your homeboys brought one home for you.
I was gonna say, I just saw that.
Right, and also Shaney, because I am from Cincinnati, and we do say not e. So, yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, whatever.
I will say your name right in the future.
What, Shaney?
Yeah.
Oh.
I always say Shanny for some reason when I know it's Shaney and I know how to say it right.
Well, technically, yeah. I mean, Shaney. Technically, it does say "an" in there. There's no E unless the Y is making it to where it's the E. Fucking English language, man.
Oh,
but
great!
No,
you just solved the problem for me.
She asked a while back. I stepped away to get beer. What about church? No, I was just pointing out the fact of like when non-believers or skepticists or just straight up atheists who are trying to be douchebags bring up counterpoints of the scripture and stuff and like present it as like this is the way you interpret it that's correct. It's like, why would I even listen to you? Because you're not a Christian to begin with. So the last person I'm going to take and consider their viewpoint in presenting me the scripture is someone who doesn't believe it in the first place. That's what I was getting at. That was like tying it together with the video games people, where
Well,
a
would
lot
you
of these
ask
people,
someone's thoughts on Lord of the Rings that absolutely hates Lord of the Rings?
yeah.
Not really. Not if you're a huge fan.
Janie says, you can call me whatever you want, baby.
Yeah.
Can I call you
She's a
human meat
problem
shield?
solver.
Oh my goodness. Wait, what are your all's religious stance? Oh,
We're both
I mean,
Christian.
I'm Christian. I'm adapting. Gary Wayne is really convincing me to becoming a contrarian, which I do agree at the end. I'm a Christian. Sometimes I don't even like saying Christianity because that can still have a lot of negative impact on a bunch of stuff. But yeah, I'm a Christian. My belief is the Bible was inspired by God. God breathed words into the scripture through man to present what he was trying to tell to his creation. And I was raised Presbyterian, but consider myself denomination. But more so becoming more of a Christian contrarian of the fact of I'm starting to question the creeds and the codes that different churches have. And if it doesn't match up what the Bible says, it's not right.
Oh, that's a huge problem just in Christianity in general. Is that the churches themselves have been like usurped in a lot of ways, and it's like even if it's on a low level, like let's say it's like my wife's parents go to a church where it's a perfectly acceptable church. The people are all very nice and polite.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter goes to school there through their school, but it's mostly just like it's like a couple of songs and like maybe 15-20 minute like generic sermon that really is like shit you should know as an adult to begin with, Bible or not. And so I think it's nice what they do, but I don't think they're realistic, and I don't think they're taking care of their flock as they should. You know what I mean? It's like you got to be real with people if you're going to be a Christian, and part of that is when people are like scared or nervous about the times, they need to know that God's going to do what he's going to do, and no matter what your opinion is of it or how you feel about it or how depressing or not depressing it is, it doesn't matter. It's going to happen. And he's when you created everything, you're perfectly within your rights to trash any part of it for any reason you please. You don't need like I draw a picture and I don't need that picture's opinion on if I should throw it in the trash or not if I don't like it. If I want to destroy it, that's perfectly I don't have to explain.
Uh-oh. Joe. Oh no. Joe froze on my end. Aye. Uh-oh, he froze. Yeah, we'll have to we'll hide him real quick. Oh no. Is he on that phone? Uh-oh. All right, he left. He'll be coming back. You were raised Presbyterian. Presbyterianism traumatized you. I wasn't so much traumatized by it. I mean, a lot of it, I just grew up with, so it doesn't seem weird to me. But again, throughout my years and becoming more in tune with wanting to learn the scripture and actually wanting to connect with God and whatnot, I've slowly become more of what I said earlier. Exactly what does the scripture say, and what do I mean? And what I mean by that is understanding. Like I'll be the first to tell you that some of the Bible is not translated correctly. So that means you need to see what the Greek says, see what the Hebrew says, put your mindset into what it would be like being someone like that from the past, and in that in that environment during that time with that culture, and also to understand what that culture was like by analyzing other cultures and stuff like that. Um, that's what I mean. because, and ultimately everything is based on what does the scripture say? Because I 100% believe that's what God breathed into the people who wrote down all of their beliefs and stories and stuff like that. And it went beyond just man writing it. It was God breathed. It was God inspired. That's what I believe in. Do you see God as a self-aware entity? Yeah, I think he's self-aware. He understands what's up. Any specific Bible preferences? NIV, King James, ESV, English Standard Version. It's probably the most accurate English translated version, but then again, it's also not perfect as well. Hey, you're back.
Hi guys.
Were you on your phone?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing the best I can tonight.
Oh wait, did you not get your computer back yet?
No, I got it. It's over here. I'm just like, for some reason, like I'm having issues getting the compression adjusted on the mic, and it keeps coming through with like this weird, like, it's not quite a robot sound, but it's like in that realm. Like it's weird, and I'm trying to pinpoint where the like I've troubleshooted enough to where I'm like, okay, I'm starting to feel a little defeated here. Why this keeps coming through strange? Is it the chords? Chords seem fine. Is it this? Is it that? So I'll keep playing with it. I'll get it figured out eventually here. But it's an amazing computer, dude. The speed I'm coloring at right now when I have to do like fixes or drop things in. It's just, I'll tell you what, it feels, I know the feeling when you get a new computer and it runs super duper fast. And it's like, this is amazing. So I'm just like gonna enjoy it for as long as it lasts, because I know eventually I overwhelm every computer after about like 8 or 9 years, and it takes a dump on me. So but yeah, what were you guys talking about?
Oh, she was just talking about like her how Presbyterianism is traumatized her and stuff like that, and is God a self-aware entity and all that.
I mean, I was raised a Jehovah's Witness, and as a young man and a kid growing up, there were parts of it that bothered me for sure. But in general, like, it's a good thing I went through it. You know what I mean? Like, it made me a better, smarter adult for going through it, despite that it was, you know, I consider it like, you know, a false version of Christianity.
Cheney, I think with that, I have no problem bringing you on. But I think something like that would be very interesting if it was just a dedicated stream to talking about that stuff. So I'll hit.
Oh yeah, we could get that like 6 hours.
Yeah. I'll look into it, and we'll set something up to where that'll just be the main topic.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
My dad was a pastor. He preached at the Alliance Church until I was 5, and then he began preaching at a Presbyterian church after that. My dad no longer agrees with Presbyterian viewpoints. I mean, my church back home is one of the rare ones, I think, where they actually left the Presbyterian group, like the meetings they get, to where it's like, you know, the umbrella, like the Presbyterian conference meeting, to where you can say that you're a Presbyterian and you're preach Presbyterian, because they started they're getting infected by wokeism. And surprisingly, my church actually believes in the scripture and says, no, that what some of the stuff you're saying here is not biblically founded and should not be humored.
Yeah.
Presbyterianism is derived from Calvinism. Yep. Oh, you're here for the Rick and Morty. Yeah, that was another thing too. That's another article I saw too, because Justin Roiland's domestic abuse case was dismissed. So we'll look into that. Ryan says, yeah, I saw Joe's post on Twitter and came to chill it. Well, thank you. And thank you, Joe. And excuse me.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
Ouching like a freak. But I want to get back. I want to get back to this Resident Evil bullshit.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I get off on rabbit holes and nonsense.
It was dismissed. When was it dismissed? Like maybe yesterday. He made a post about it on Twitter called Justice, and then in a screenshot had a long explanation and stuff like that. We'll get to it. We'll cover it. I'm not sure why gamers feel. I already read that. And they're taking a crucial part of the game's appeal away. Yeah, it's called sex appeal and it sells. You fucking idiot. It's incredibly weird that people feel entitled to creep shot women and young girls in video games just because nobody real is getting hurt, she added. But it's not your responsibility to take care of that in the video game. Because, again, the Japanese don't care. Joe talks too much. Chaos Smash. This is true.
Too much. Man, you never shut up. You're right. I do.
I generally believe that it's bad to look up skirts both in games and in real life. Shut the fuck up. This is what we're talking about.
You can always tell who's never looked up a skirt.
Well, this is what I'm talking about. Like, a normal person understands that you would not do this in real life. Oh my fucking God. I love you, Lord, but forgiveth me. She declared, arguing that it is bad for game developers to include such mechanisms. I mean, the way she's talking right here, clear, like, not a fan. This is it. If you're a person that goes, the video game industry, and you hone in, and your first reaction to go to, well, we need to make sure that women are seen as more empowered, get rid of these upskirts and stuff like that, your ass should never be allowed in because you do not care about video games. If that is your first go-to. True, I played all the Resident Evil, says Ty, and none of the people I've killed were zombies. She also objected it being rewarded via achievement, as in Lollipop Chainsaw, Nier Automata, and Nier Replicant, the latter also undermining Kane's story and character arc. Along with rejecting players needing to get an upskirt to get all in-games achievements, I'm assuming is what that meant to say. Damn it, bounding into comics, do your spell check and grammar.
They never. They will not. They refuse. They're like, that's for chumps.
Shaney says, real talk. Hey, Eduardo, what's up? Says, good stream. I found your content through Fuzzy Wollongong. Keep it up. If I'm pronouncing that.
It's quite the name.
Well, that's awesome. Real talk, I've never played Resident Evil. Back to Shaney. My gaming choices are in different realms. I mean, that's a whole nother topic to talk about as well. Because I said earlier, you'll have your OG dedicated fans that are like the tank controls back to just killing zombies and doing a bunch of puzzles, which is pretty much what Resident Evil was. A lot of it was puzzle-based as well. And then as the remakes, pretty much from 4 onward, and now the remakes, they're turning it more into, your third person over the camera, over shoulder camera, and it's more action based and stuff like that, with the puzzle still there, but kind of not the main focus anymore. Let's see. Let's go back to what this stupid bitch is saying.
Oh my God. Language.
What's up? Language? Sorry.
Yeah, language. Good Lord, Greg. You know it hurts my ears when you say naughty words.
I know. I'm a bad man.
Next thing you know, you're going to be looking up skirts.
I know. I'm such a perv. But aren't we all pervs at some point? They're sexualized and dehumanized. Oh, wait a minute. Carr claims it's an indicator of a larger pattern of misogyny in gaming. Again, if that's the reason why you got into the video game industry, then you never cared about gaming because you saw something in there that was a problem, and you want to be remembered as one of the people to, quote, fix said projected problem. And that even when women are written well, they're sexualized and dehumanized. There it is, right there, right there.
Yep.
They're never going to be satisfied. So why even?
It has nothing to do with quality. Yep.
You as a player.
Well, it has nothing to do with quality. It could be the greatest thing in the world, and we'd still take a dump. Like, I know.
that's what I'm talking about too. Like all the big established franchises that have lead male characters, they want to have whatever the female character is and replace them and make them. That's what it is, really. They're pissed off that there's not a lot of female lead characters, and so they want to retcon
Yeah.
everything, just like what they're doing with Hollywood. They want to retcon it so that their version is the superior and good version, but then they realize that not only when you go woke,
Everyone hates
you
it.
in fact go broke. And yeah, everyone hates it. You as a player are rewarded for making a woman uncomfortable over and over again. Oh my goodness. You know, if Ada Wong stood right in front of me, I would go, wow, you're not real. Because she wouldn't never stand. Resident Evil
Wait,
4
I thought
Remake
you.
looked like a blast, but at the same time, it is yet another re-release. Maybe it says, this is Eduardo talking. Maybe it says something about the industry where people enjoy a re-release more than the new IPs that are coming out. Yeah. I'll tell you right now, the only good re-release or remaster, whatever you want to call it, that one didn't change a whole lot of stuff, two actually added stuff that didn't change the original, and three just gave it a big ass rebuild with HD textures and whatnot, is Shadow of the Colossus. That is the only one that like legitimately did it right. And I've been saying forever, if that's just all they did with these re-releases, I guarantee you no one would have a problem. But again, they're using remakes and remasters as an excuse to fix whatever problems they're seeing. If Ada stood in front of me, I'd say, please don't kill me. This is true. But again, she would use her sexiness, because that's who she was when she was created, as a means to, be a spy and infiltrate and stuff like that. So this is behavior that I'm sure we all agree should be discouraged and not incentivized. Well, I mean, killing people is bad, so let's get rid of all the guns in video games. Let's see.
I mean, video games don't really incentivize anything except to keep a person playing.
Well,
You
but
know,
this is the argument right here. Is once again, it's these people are terrified that somebody's gonna get the wrong idea and go out and do it in real life. When one, the studies have shown that not being the case. In fact, I remember a study being shown specifically with video games to try to prove that misogyny happens in video games, and the test actually showed the opposite, that no one gave a shit. I can't
yeah.
remember what that study was, but that was a big one that put a nail in the coffin too. But again, this has been said over and over and over.
It sounds so Fox Newsy though. You know, like after a school shooting
Yeah.
or something. Like it sounds so silly and so
Oh,
goofy
Lewis.
when it's like if stuff exists on a global level, it's kind of like thinking guns are always a problem. It's like yeah, there's more guns in this country than there are citizens. If there's a problem, like you'd know it. It's and those are the legal ones. I'm not even talking about the illegal ones. So it's a weird and I'm not even big on video games. Like honestly, I kind of get a little kick out of watching like whenever someone does like a light threat to get rid of like video games and weed, and you see like gamers literally losing their mind over just the suggestion of it. I'm like, oh my god, this is pathetic. But at the same time, I'm like, I get it. They just want their hobby to be left alone, and I feel that on some of my hobbies too. I totally get it. But I also check out of my hobbies when they get ruined and just stick to the era of it that I could enjoy, and I accept that it may never come back again. You know.
But that's where the whole the indie wave is exploding, because then you see, people like creating their own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like Joe's Death over on Indiegogo.
What?
We're at 82, 262 with 170 or 1,075 backers. Trying to crack that 82, get that up to 83. But yeah, look at that. Look at that hot coloring. The insane detail. Woo.
Yep. Gonna be a wild book.
Gonna be a wild book. You guys haven't seen it already? Check it out. I'm looking forward. I keep looking forward to reading it. I just cannot wait.
and I cannot wait to get it to you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
I
it.
hope everybody loves it. I think it'll probably be like a little different than what some people think, just based off of the general look of it. But I hope just something that's like got some actual like quiet moments, but the big moments are super big and super over the top. That it'll
Mm-hmm.
balance out to this cool, interesting thing that people look forward to in the future.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I've said it before, like the more I see the colors, the more like I even switched over to get the colored version because it just looks
Yeah.
so dope. Even though I am a big fan of black and white, I do love the gray and the just your basic monotone color scheme.
I've
But
said before, it's like the black and white is like it makes the whole book feel kind of spooky and dark just by default
yeah,
of there being no color, and the color gives you kind of like at least some mental idea of kind of how I would see it if I was put in a position to have it all colorized, which I am. So
yeah,
I think the color changes the mood a little bit because I do use colors to represent like
mm-hmm.
good, bad, negative, like different phases of what's going on in those particular parts of the story. But at the same time, when it's black and white, like almost everything feels a little ominous in the book. Like you always feel like something bad's right around the corner, even if it's like a happy moment. So, but yeah, check it out, everyone. If you like Berserk, Bible lore, Transformers,
Yes,
mech, monsters, war. A lot of it's a war book. It's about a family trying to survive being stuck in the midst of like basically being forced into service in a war. So
I'll drop the
yeah,
link in the chat because I believe it's still shadow banned, right?
hmm yeah, you can
Yes.
only get to her direct link. It's really weird. It's been happening with a ton of indie guys, and
Mhm.
we're kind of all going through this right now and looking at other options to maybe do crowd funds or just ways to go about it in the future. So it's like the way Ripa did it, like he was literally selling units.
Mhm.
So and yeah, he made a lot of money, but like his taxation is totally different because of that. Like if you're giving capital through Indiegogo or something like that, that's looked at as someone giving you capital to work with, and it's not taxed the same way as when you're paying sales tax because you're selling something. You're selling units of something. So that's the catch is you have a really good outlet to make the best of your money through crowdfunding in comparison to selling just direct by the unit. But you have to find some balance between both. As you know, that's what we're working towards with the website that you're doing for me and stuff, is being able to um, just have that store up, even though it changes a certain amount of stuff. We don't want to rely on crowdfunding for life. At some point, you'd like to
Yeah.
just be able to do stuff, put it out,
Yep.
and people buy it when it's out, when it's done, not
Yep.
a year and a
Exactly.
half in advance, so you have enough money to actually produce it. So,
Yes.
but yeah, thank you for bringing it up, man. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, you opened it up for a sweet segue. Um, for Resident Evil 4, it comes out tomorrow, but I think there's early access because a channel I watched was streaming it. I think I didn't watch it because I mean, I already know the story, so I didn't. I don't know. I was just like, whatever. So maybe specific, high tier gamers got early access to it, but it for sure will come out tomorrow. And yeah, we're trying to crack the 82K up to 83, but obviously the higher the better, sort of thing. But
Mm.
that's more Joe of what his goals of what he wants to do with it.
And thank you, Shani. I see your comment there. If I ever need your expertise, I will come bother you for free. Like I need.
Carcinogen was streaming it. Okay, yeah. I watch one of the channels I watch is the Survival Horror Network, and I like how he does it too because he actually plays the game like how a movie was. So he'll like purposely like when you're in the game, like do slow camera turns and stuff like that. That's not just a
Oh,
part
that's
of like
slick.
what's
Yeah,
up. Yeah,
I
that's
said
not
that's
just
slick. Yeah.
yeah. That's not just part of like the cutscenes, but like he tries to tie everything together to make it look like just one big long movie. Pretty clever. That was directed at Greg and Joe, but I don't mind terrorizing you as well. Wait, what? Shut up, you boomers. Oh, us? I don't think I'm considered a boomer. I was in.
Yeah, you're way too young.
Yeah, I was like, I grew up in the 90s.
But you're about to be the equivalent of a boomer for our generation. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm Gen Z, but I'm on the cusp of being what a boomer is because I'm 40. So once I hit 50, I'm officially a boomer, whether I like it or not. So it's a stigma attached to age that's derived from a time period, and that time period was all people that raised me. So now I'm set to either break the boomer chains or continue the boomer habits. It's a decision I have to make myself. So
Shani says, "Are so Gen Y or Millennial? Nah, you're Gen Y." Yeah, I always forget because I know people try to clump me as a millennial, but I'm not one of those like pathetic ones.
well, millennials is like such a huge portion too that it's kind of weird because it doesn't really make sense. It's like really if we're going by how society looks at it, a millennial is basically anyone born after 2000. It's not really. No one looks at somebody that was like 10 years old in 1992 and thinks like they were a millennial. It's just weird. It doesn't make any sense. But hey, what's up, Seth?
Born in January 14th, 1992. Gen X. Sim proudly declaring that he's a Gen X.
Oh, yeah.
The baldness already signifies he's close to being a boomer.
How dare you, Chaos?
Oh.
Why does Chaos hate us? We love him. But he hates us.
Let's go back and see how much we're misogynist. Why is added by giving players bounding into comics? Come on. Oh wait, no, they're quoting her. So she's retarded because I have no idea. What is added by giving I see. What is added by giving players the ability to do this, especially while adding in the express discomfort of the characters? Because it's funny. Because like we've seen that happen like back in the 80s in anime shows, and it's Japanese, so of course they're gonna keep doing it.
Funny's honestly a good enough reason all on its own. You don't need it.
Why do players want to do this at all? Why do you care about the video game industry? Car implores, yes, they're just characters, but it adds nothing to the games and instead reflects and potentially encourages misogynistic behavior in real life. Oh my gosh. Despite widely claimed sexual content in video games can cause misogyny, this was disproven in a 2022 study. Hey, that's the one I was talking about from the journal Computers and Human Behavior. Specifically, the study found that sexualization in games was neither related to well-being, body dissatisfaction, nor sexism, misogyny. There you go. So that's what I was talking about. This bitch has no idea what the fuck she's talking about. And she's probably not even a gamer. So there you go. Oh, and there's Salazar. Oh, wow. He actually looks terrible. He looks even uglier than he does in the original.
Who's that weird old lady?
That's actually a guy.
Yeah, I know. It's being sarcastic.
Yeah. These games are created by men. There it is, right there. She's pissed off that these games were created by men and the female was not the main focus. The female characters are heavily sexualized for men, and their discomfort is a gag for men. Well, then make your own game and make a strong woman-empowered protagonist and see how much it sells.
They don't know how to make things. You're asking way too much.
Car asserts, I'm glad the developers are starting to remove this from remasters of old games, but Nier Automata and the Nier Replicant remasters came out relatively recent. There it is. There it is there. Censorship. Wokeism. Perhaps it's time for us all to stop being weird when developers choose to stop unnecessarily sexualizing their female characters and be grateful that this is a pattern that's being stopped. She concludes, no. Vera Dark. Hey, there you go. I know who Vera is. Denounced the gamer's editorials in her YouTube video opening with how game journalists love to support things that hurt the industry like censorship, along with advocating for creative freedom. Vera argues a remake like Resident Evil 4 should be as close to the original as possible while being remade, and that any removal is going to upset people. I agree, because to me, that's what a remake is.
I mean, ultimately, who's the final word on this stuff? Who owns Resident Evil? Is it Sony? Who is it? Capcom?
What? Capcom.
Capcom. So is the final word with Capcom or whoever they're putting the games out through? Because someone's got to be able to put a stop to it and is just choosing not to. I mean, if the Japanese wanted, they could really put their foot down on the global changes. I think the problem is they're too used to people doing this and just not giving a shit because they make their money either way.
I think it's ultimately the like Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony portions, because the developers can do something and then submit the game, if I remember correctly, and then the studio goes through it and see if it passes the rating system and stuff like that, to where they'll be like, okay, we'll go ahead and declare that this can go on our system, sort of thing, and slap it and let's go. But yeah, because that was another big thing too, is like someone was making like a hentai sort of game, and they tried submitting it to like be on Nintendo and like Steam and all that stuff, and they stopped it because it didn't pass their rating system or what have you. But that's a
I mean, I wouldn't want a hentai game on my system either. It's just me.
Well, supposedly Nintendo was supposed to be out of the big three the ones that were the least bit picky when it comes to censorship, but now it's starting to rise up again. So everyone's going to be censoring stuff in one way, shape, or form. She also disagrees with keeping the upskirt was purely so gamers could get their rocks off, as it is instead a form of appreciation and respect for the content the developers put in the original game. She further claimed Carr didn't care, as she was willing to play a part in the destruction of this industry. Yep. There's the video.
It's just a slippery slope is all it is. It really has nothing to do with the woman or the upskirt or any of that. It's that we've watched slippery slopes happen since like 2012. It really kicked into high gear, even though you could see the inklings of it prior, going all the way back to the 80s where they were trying, but it just wasn't working because it was too much of a boomery message. It had to get more crazy. So even I don't know, you probably aren't familiar with it, but there was a really popular show when I was a kid called MacGyver. They tried to do a reboot of it, not given it any time. But you can even go back to like MacGyver, Family Ties, all these 80s shows I grew up on. I never noticed all the boomery liberal nonsense squeezed into them as a kid. It was over my head.
Mm-hmm.
But I can go back now, and it was everywhere back then too. It just didn't, like, it was always under the guise of like white savior, so people didn't really look at it the same way because the character was always being like your proper boomer white savior, and they let it fly. But I mean, there was like an episode of MacGyver where it was like there were these terrible racist Nazis that ran a print shop. These people always ran print shops too. So you see these weird gimmicks all through these 80s shows. And there was a boy that MacGyver was trying to mentor that was kind of like a reformed gangbanger. And they made the print shop racist guys out to be the bad ones because they had been having problems with gangbangers. So they were suspect of the gangbanger. You know what I mean? It was like, look at these disgusting evil people using logic and reason for being defensive for a reasonable purpose, even though they have bad belief systems. It's not an unreasonable reason to be suspicious of somebody. And you just see the stuff squeezed in everywhere where like the characters always have like a Nazi room, like a hidden Nazi. Like, who has hidden Nazi collection rooms? Like, that's such an obscure thing. Only elite super rich people have that shit. It's not normies like these shows make it out like. So there was just, you can find this shit everywhere, and all these fun, nostalgic shows that were mostly good, but they still tried to squeeze it in even back then. And now they're just more blatant about it because it didn't work. It's actually like there was. I remember almost zero racial issues by like 1995 amongst normies. Like it was like a dead issue. Nobody thought about it, talked about it, brought it up. It was nothing, and they had to revive it because nothing else to work with. And now there's a whole there's a couple of generations of kids that are now in their early 20s and mid 20s that don't even realize like you're being tricked. It wasn't even like this. Like fucking 20 years ago, it was a dead issue. You guys are reviving something that's imaginary, basically.
Says, do you remember Zoom, Joe?
Zoom?
Yeah, I guess that's
I
a
don't
show.
think. No, I do not. I'll look it up though. So there's some shows that I don't remember names of, but then I see some imagery and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that now. There was a handful of things I grew up watching on rerun for a short period of time where I could not remember what it was until.
Hold the fort real quick. I gotta hold on
Yeah.
a second.
No, I don't remember Zoom. I do not, unfortunately. Knight Rider was cool. I liked Knight Rider a lot when I was a kid. Like now I can't sit through it, but when I was a kid I loved Knight Rider. I thought that shit was awesome. Dukes of Hazzard, yeah, I love Dukes. When I was a kid, I thought that shit was absolutely hilarious. I love all the southern appeal of it too. I don't care what anyone says. I lived in the deep south for like, I don't know, probably 10 years total. It was in gaps. It was like I did about 4 years down there, and then I went back for 2 and went back for a few more off and on. But yeah, I love the southern culture. I love the deep south, everything about it. Like when I was in high school down there, there were 2 different schools I went to at one point, and on the school bus in the morning they would have like barbershop quartet, like gospel music playing on the bus, and it was even though I had lived in the South before, there were moments where you were in the teeny tiny southern towns in the bottom of Georgia, like basically in the swamp, and you felt like you were thrown back in time for a little bit, even though there were modern things around you. It was just there were still things that were the norm down there that were long past any place outside of there, and it was a lot of fun. I loved it. I still love it to this day. I'll always have a deep respect for the South and the ability they have to like raise decent people and whatnot. But I lived in Georgia, most of it. I spent like a year in Kentucky. I was in Tennessee a lot growing up just because I'm from Cincinnati, but I've lived all over the country. I think as far west as I've been is Colorado, though. I've never been past that point, but I moved about 28 times before I was even out of high school, just due to my dad's line of work. Like he was in the military, so my older brother and sister, they got to see like Germany and Japan and all these gnar-ass places that I wish I could see because my family is all from Germany. Everyone in Cincinnati's family is from Germany. So like I would have really liked to have gotten to see some of that as a kid. But my dad got out of the service when I was born and went right into the trucking industry and like rehab like truck dealerships and people that produced parts for 18-wheelers, stuff along those lines. So he basically took a job that intentionally had him set up to just bounce around. You know, he could still live kind of like the military life. He couldn't sit still, but he didn't have to be in the military to do it. He was in the Marine Corps for 4 years. Then he did the Army for 4 years, and he went right to the Rangers over there. I don't know if they're still like this, but at one point they had like a deal where you could not circumvent boot camp, but you had a way to kind of jettison yourself right into Ranger training and skip the initial Army stuff because you had already put in X amount of years with the Marine Corps and basically been through it. So he did that he was in the service for about 8 years total. And then he did civil service just worked for the government till I don't know about 8 more years. He did 16 years total of civil service, and
Ooh.
I can't prove it, but I suspect he worked for Blackwater for a while because he had a bunch of Blackwater stuff and like a literal like business card and shit, and I'm pretty sure it was legitimate. And then and around that time he had moved to Chesapeake Bay down in Virginia Beach. I found out a few years later that's where the headquarters of Blackwater was, and I was like, oh, this is adding up now. I think he was still working for a while, but
I showed this on
yeah.
on Twitter, but here's that Ava shirt.
Oh man, I love it. It's so cool.
We got pixel, all the pixel goodness. Whee! Pretty dope.
Dude, it's so cool. Yeah, it is. That's just cool imagery because even though it's like it's a pixel done image, it has all the epicness that is Ava like squeezed into one image. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's from the website called the Yeti, YETEE, and they always have like limited shirts from different artists and stuff like that. And I was like, I happened to be checking my email, and I saw like a Cruel Angel something. I was like, oh, that's got to be Eva related. And I clicked it, and luckily it was that one. I was like, heck yeah, I'm snagging this shit. What you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's such a cool shirt.
Let's see. I don't know how much longer this article is, but defies Carr's attempts to deceive readers by using the term young girls, almost implying they are underage when Ashley is 20. This is true. If they're trying to pull that shit, yeah, like Ashley's like 20 years old. This is despite King, Henley, and Troughton mentioning so in their articles. King claims the most dominant fan conversation surrounding a personality concerns her being a teenager in over her head.
Well, at 20, you call him a young lady, not a young girl. She's a young lady. She's a lady. She's an adult, but she's young. You know what I mean? It's that verbiage is cool. Yeah.
Oh, that looks cool. We got the chainsaw guy, burlap sack man. Leon stopping it with his knife. How his hand isn't catching on fire for how hot that would be. I know it wouldn't catch on fire, but man, that must be hot. Stopping a chainsaw with your knife. Woo.
Yeah.
Oh, he's parrying it. But yeah. But it looks like Vera Cheese Blaster says Joe balls are mighty over on Rumble.
I told you.
Oh no. Joe, no, you froze again. Dr. Salvador is the guy with the chainsaw. Yeah, that's right. Damn it, Joe. Your phone be messing up. Let's see. Barra challenges Carr's lack of scientific citation. I take it back. Let's see. On the claims that upskirts in video games will result in real-life misogyny, deemed it just as flawed as journalists' past attempts to push the claim video game violence caused real-life violence. That's pretty much what I've stated in the beginning of this. Sexual content in fictional games with fictional characters does not cause misogyny, she proclaims. Looking up skirts is a comedic trope that's been in anime and Japanese video games for a long time. Hey, I literally said that. And they even admit that at the beginning of the article. No matter how hard these people try and pretend. There you go. There's that beautiful face.
Sorry, we got storms going on here. It's probable to happen more than once.
Oh, yeah. Supposedly we're supposed to get a bad one down here as well. Let's see. No matter how hard these people try and pretend and convince you it's harmful, this isn't real life and it isn't harmful to any real person. Yep. Cheese Blaster, Mighty Balls is back. He says he took it back when you froze, but now he says you're back.
I'm back.
You're back.
Yes.
Along with doubting its erasure would prevent such incidents occurring in real life, Vera believes it's part of this larger plan to desexualize characters, which is part of the grand modern day message. I agree. She notes a trend where remakes being censored or backed by publishers or developers, citing a need to update the game for modern audiences, as Resident Evil 4 VR did. Yep, I agree. And it's all connected together, because this is my theory, Joe, is that, I mean, oh, we're at the end of the article, so it looks like Vera just pretty much just shut all these people down for being idiots. But this is kind of goes along with my theory, kind of like what they're doing with Hollywood, as well as the video game industry, is I think what they're doing is exactly what she's saying. Like, they're trying to make it for modern audiences and whatnot. And what I think is my theory is that they've actually found the golden calf that they want to use this for. And I think it's with The Last of Us. Because The Last of Us Part 2, like, The Last of Us is an okay game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the masterpiece that a lot of people project that it is. But it wasn't by all means bad or anything like that. Move on. Chaos Smash says, move on, Greg. What are you talking about?
The chat's become impatient. They've had enough Resident Evil.
Well, fine then, you fuckers.
They want to hear about Rick and Morty. What's the juice on Rick and Morty?
Yeah, we'll pull that one up. Had enough bullshit. I guess they're just getting mad because everything is just garbage.
Dude, they're all The Rock right now. They're just laying the smackdown on us.
I know.
We're getting hit by elbows over here. Elbows and leg drops. Jesus Christ.
What Justin do this time? All right, so Rick and Morty co-creator Justin Roiland speaks out after being cleared of domestic violence charges. I'm disappointed that so many people were so quick to judge without knowing the facts. Actually, let me...
Now, is this the creator of Rick and Morty?
Yes, and he does the voice of Rick and Morty, and he's not a part of Rick and Morty anymore, so how the hell they're going to do it, I have no idea.
One other question, because I'm not super familiar with Rick and Morty. Is this the same guy that worked on the show Community prior? Like, he did Community and then Rick and Morty? Like, this is all the same person?
That's Dan Hammond who did Community, but yeah, he's with Justin Roiland.
Maybe it's Dan I'm thinking of. Doesn't Dan have a sordid history of some weird shit too?
Probably. Yeah, it does Solar Opposites.
Well, you go ahead and get through this, and then I'll bring up what I'm thinking about afterwards. Dan Harmon, yeah, that's who I'm pretty sure I'm thinking of. Like, there's a pitch he did for an HBO show, and it is horrific. Like, you don't want to see it. It'll give you fucking nightmares.
To be fair, I wasn't listening to 99% of that last article because it was some bullshit op-ed. I know. But we wanted to see it. Yeah, but Dan Harmon, that's who it is. Cheese Blaster liked what I was saying. Last of Us was good until they spunked, left this juice all over it. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Pretty much The Last of Us, I personally think they're building up to be the golden calf that they'll point to when all this woke bullshit, when they want to start pushing it harder. Because then they'll be like, well, Last of Us Part 2 won all these awards, which I personally think was rigged, but that's another rabbit hole to go down at some other point.
Yeah.
So in the seeming conclusion to this chapter of his career, Rick and Morty co-creator Justin Roiland has officially been cleared of his previously reported domestic violence charges. The decision to dismiss Roiland's charges was first announced by the Orange County, California District Attorneys on March 22nd, so that was yesterday. We dismissed the charges today because there was insufficient evidence to prove the case beyond reasonable doubt, explained a spokesperson for the office, Kimberly Eds, in a statement issued to the media. Further, Eds noted that this decision was also influenced by some significant additional information that came to light. Oh, I didn't know that. Excuse me. It's Cheese Blaster. It's unfair that minorities get to chokehold the majority into a life of utter debauchery and nonsense. Have not seen Last of Us. I hear it's for broken people, so I should be into it. My attention span is short, though, says Shaney.
I feel that. That's why it's hard for me to get into a lot of video games or entertainment at this point. Like, give me some YouTube shorts. That's more my realm of
I hear you.
All my focus is on
for me,
artwork.
with all this bullshit happening, it was hard for me to get back into anime and shit like that. Joe gets me. Yes, Shaney says he was charged for false imprisonment too, and his ex got a restraining order for the incident from what I saw when Adult Swim first dismisses them. Yeah, and there's like text screens of him saying some stuff. And then to like his ex and then someone else, and people are like, oh, it's a minor and stuff like that. This article might cover it. Breaking his long-held silence on the topic, Roiland took to Twitter near immediately after the DA's announcement to offer his thoughts on the entire ordeal. Wasn't Justin involved in some woke crap as well? He was on fucking, what is it, Ethan Klein's show. I know he's been on that, which, yeah. I don't know.
Right.
I feel like Justin's one of those people that, like, I think feels like, I think is secretly based, but like obviously caters to the left side at well. If anything, maybe he's just libertarian, which is fine.
I don't know. Libertarians are like the ultimate fence setters. I never know what to think.
Yeah. He's not a stable human being. That's why Rick and Morty is so great. Which I think I mean, Rick and Morty, it's definitely has some low-hanging jokes and, you know, that sort of comedy sort of thing. But there are some episodes that I do like that are really well written. Dan Harmon is more on the left. Yeah, I'm a libertarian. That's cool.
Canny.
Sharing a lengthy statement alongside the caption, Justice, the voice actor began his post by asserting, I have always known that these claims were false. I never had any doubt that this day would come. All right, so here's the post that he said. Just the article. Okay, so I'm not going to read from the post. I'll just read from the article.
Goddamn setter.
Here we go. Shaney's a fence sitter. I'm thankful that this case has been dismissed, but at the same time, I'm still deeply shaken by the horrible lies that were reported about me during this process. He continued, most of all, I'm disappointed that so many people were so quick to judge without knowing the facts based solely on the word of an embittered ex trying to bypass due process and have me canceled. I do agree with that to a lot of people with the Me Too. Obviously, they do want to bypass due process and just have people canceled.
But he catered. That's the whole problem is this guy's like complaining about the things he's a part of in terms of the people he caters to and whose asses he sucks. So it's like, you want us to feel bad for you when you said, I guarantee you this dude sat around and said nothing every time it happened to people around him or maybe someone else.
That's what I was. Yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm getting at too. Like I'm like on the fence about Roiland.
Oh God, you're a libertarian.
Yeah, I'm a libertarian.
Oh
I did take
my
a test
God.
one time and they said I was a centrist. I was like, okay, I guess I'm in the middle. But then other times I'm like moderate conservative. I don't know.
Mine said borderline Orthodox Catholic.
Oh, okay. I do agree with him definitely about a lot of people using the Me Too and canceling thing to pretty much making sure that they can destroy someone's life without any evidence. And if it finds out they were lying, the damage is already done. I do agree with that. Obviously, I mean, he admitted in the post that he wouldn't be surprised that this happened to him. It's like, okay, well then don't feel sorry for yourself. And exactly what you said, Joe. Yeah, and I guarantee you saw tons of people have this too, and you didn't do shit about it. So,
if anything, encouraged it.
Yep. That it may have succeeded, even partially, is shameful, he added. However, not that the legal case has ended. I'm determined to move forward and focus both on my creative projects and restoring my good name. As first reported in January of this year, Roiland was previously facing 1 felony count of domestic battery. Yeah, that was the other one. With corporal injury and 1 felony count of false imprisonment by menace, violence, fraud, and/or deceit, stemming from an incident which is said to have taken place 3 years ago in Orange County. While the exact details regarding the nature of the accusations leveled against him had been and currently remain withheld from the public thanks to a protective order issued by the court, Criminal complaint filed against the creator and later obtained by NBC News revealed that Roiland was accused of having assaulted an unidentified ex-girlfriend sometime around January 19th, 2020. Shani says, so my ex-fiance falsely imprisoned me and broke my ribs. He got away with a lot of shit because it's hard to prove an offender wasn't provoked. Just all for protect the innocent and punish the guilty with extreme prejudice. Got charged 50 plus times for abuse and they all got dismissed. I secured the restraining order the state's granted through.
Yeah, it's the law is definitely not like
the law isn't perfect.
It's like everyone wants to be like, this will all get fixed in court, or this will all get fixed here or there. We've seen so many times like the thing that would make somebody innocent or guilty is kept out of a case on purpose. And you know, it's tough because we're always, it doesn't matter what system you're in, you're stuck with some level of human judgment. And if the people holding those positions don't give a shit about how their decisions are affecting people, then you get corruption. And it's unfortunate. You know, it's, I see, like, you know, when Tug was covering the death thing, bear in mind this is nothing against Tug. I know him in real life. He's a saint. Known each other for years and years now. But he would talk a lot about, like, you know, the law and the court, like faith, almost like he had faith that things would go a certain way. And in the back of my head, I was like, look, Johnny Depp could be innocent or guilty. It doesn't matter. It depends on who that judge is, because they can make all the calls on what's allowed and not allowed. And we've seen plenty of liberal judges do things just based on their opinions and preferences that is way outside any bounds of reasonable law. So it's you never know what you're gonna get, man. I'm glad when people court pans out for them. I just don't personally have that faith in things. I mean, I'm not a back the blue guy either, though. Like you'll never see me like blindly defend cops or any authority figure, really.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's good people in the force too, and that's why I'd say back the blue. But like, yeah, I mean, you're always gonna have your bad apples everywhere. Yeah, government.
Well, I think it's more like we got a good litmus test during COVID, and I think like people can't forget that. Like conservatives cannot just overnight forget that, like, basically the entire police force of 99% of the country was ready to butt fuck us if someone from the federal government told them to.
Absolutely, yeah.
In front of our children and doing it to our wives and whatever. I don't trust a single one of them because I didn't see hardly any show up for us. Maybe in some rare small cases. But they didn't show up for us. They're worried about their pensions. They're worried about just getting their years in so that they can retire super duper cushy. That the last thing on 99% of cops, lawyers, judges, minds, lawmakers is whether it benefits us or not. It's so far from it, and it's sad, but it's reality. You know.
And that was the whole, like, with the whole defunding the police thing too. Like, obviously, that's pretty fucking stupid to do.
Yeah, it's silly.
I think too, but I'm also of the one of thinking the government, as well as the police and stuff like that, are pretty much the gimps that we keep in the box, and then when we need them, we'll take them out, demand that they do what their purpose of life is, and then shove them back in when they're not needed. That's what it is.
I think that's a good way. That's how they should be.
That's how it should be. Yeah, and with the whole like Second Amendment sort of situation as well, I'm one of the people of where back in the day, the idea of if someone broke into your house and you didn't take responsibility to stop that person and stuff like that, that's on you, and you actually should be kind of punished for it too, because that's what no one should be breaking into your house. And I'm also of the one of like, the people should also take care of it too, you know, sort of thing. The cops
responsibility.
The cops aren't like, it's that argument of like, the cops don't stop the crime, they stop it from spreading, but the initial, like what started the whole thing, they're not there and they'll never will be there. That's where your responsibility takes into place too. And that's what the founding fathers knew, and that's why they put that the Second Amendment and all that stuff into it in the beginning. That's what it should be. Cheese Blaster over on Rumble says it's I wish Frankie Boyle would make an Adult Swim series. It would be hilarious. If someone asked me whether I sit left or right, I'd say borderline mental asylum because the left and right argument makes me crazy. No, like I'm also the same thing as well. Like I hate the rhinos and I hate the libtards. They're all in the same orgy. they're all in the same orgy. And the left will, you know, they're scratching their backs, and the right's saying, yeah, we'll continue to be the pussies and do what you want to do, and you can go ahead and look like you're the people that care about everything and stuff. And in the end, you know, we all get the sweet blood money and all that stuff. That's what it is. It's the powers, it's the principalities and the power. It's all that's happening. The US has it. The Bible says the Prince of Persia was there, Prince of Greece, all that shit. It's all there. It's all there. Anywho, asked by Variety for their thoughts on this development, both Adult Swim and Hulu, which aired his series Rick and Morty and Solar Opposites, respectively, declined to comment. Oh, and that was the end of the article. Okay. So there you go. Yeah, I'm like indifferent with Justin's thing, because I mean, you're asking for pity, but did you show pity when this was happening to other people? No, you didn't. But then you kind of foresaw this possibly happening to you, and then it finally did, and it's like the weirdest. Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, if there wasn't enough evidence, sadly, there wasn't enough evidence. So, I mean,
if it was Harmon, I would 100% believe the woman. But I don't know enough about Justin to really like have an opinion one way or the other.
I mean, I've seen the tweets and stuff he sent, and I think he was intoxicated with a lot of them. And honestly, to me, they weren't really that bad. But I mean, how much have we said stuff when we were drunk and stuff like that, like extreme shit that's just like you're just flinging it out because you have no filter anymore, just sort of thing.
Yeah.
And you know, you wake up the next day and you go, yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that. But
do they have apology tweet text? That might help. Like, hey, I'm sorry about that, man. I was just all
that
fucked
one
up.
I don't know. That one I don't know. So far, we've just seen like what it said. As long as the right left thing is pushed, the world is still divided. Yeah, because that's what they want. It's all about control. San Francisco was huge about defunding the police and actually succeeded. Now that the place is a crime-infested dump paradise, they are crying that they need more cops in San Francisco. LL. Yeah, see, that's the point. As far as I'm concerned, they're terrified that they don't want things to go back in the old Western days. I say bring it back, because all these people that are acting tough and shit like that, if we go back to them Western days, things would get sorted out. But even back in the Western days, actually a whole lot of like duels and stuff like that honestly really didn't take a whole lot of place. So that's just another thing.
Well, the thing is, like, you can look at the stats on like towns and cities and places that have constitutional carry where you don't need any permit or anything to conceal and carry. Ohio being one of those great places, and their crime rates just over time just keep dipping and dipping and dipping to the point of being almost zero in like smaller areas, because thieves aren't as ballsy and criminals aren't as ballsy when they know everyone around them is also packing heat. Even if they are, everyone else is too. And it really is kind of like, nuclear arms with countries. It's they regulate each other. They keep each other in check. So we both know we have this tool at our disposal.
I say extreme shit when drunk, and I don't care when I'm sober. Yeah. I mean, it definitely depends on what you're what you're saying, Shannon. We don't know what happened. I know what my abuser did with evidence, but others couldn't believe he was capable of what he did, and I've made peace with that. And that's the unfortunate thing, and that's why the whole Me Too movement is bullshit, in the sense of the real people who are actually abused and stuff get mixed in with a lot of these other people who fucking uh who isn't real, like, you know, the fucking
My
two
seat.
whales with Vic situation, and finding out later. I'm all for one, like, if you're like, get all the evidence, and if it's found it out that you're lying and you destroyed this person's life, like, whatever the punishment for that guy, if he was found guilty, should be given back to the person too, sort of thing too. But that's awesome. That's what I'm talking about as well. Like, I knew, and everyone knew this too. Everyone knew, it's like, we obviously we want justice for, like, the insanity of what happens to people, like to the women who can't speak up, who are actually in abusive relationships and stuff like that. But you know that these fucking assholes who um they can physically hurt you without leaving bruises, and the way they physically hurt you is by destroying your career, or canceling you, or
Yeah,
making it to where you can't, everything must be taken away and you need to rebuild yourself from the ground up, sort of thing. It's I saw this coming, and it's unfortunate too.
I think to some degree though, people still have to
Mm-hmm.
they have to find ways to get by even when this happens and still succeed. Like that's the catch,
Yeah.
because it's very much possible. Like every time someone's like, I was canceled or I was this or I was that, it's like, sure, but you can go away and still come back with um maybe not in this field or this thing, but you can certainly move on with life and find other ways of making money. And I know that sounds kind of cruel and harsh, but it's like, here's reality. If you're not going to react to what's happening around you, then you're not, you're going to be an eternal victim. Like, I think that's something too. It's like, even people that complain about other people being victims or having
Mm-hmm.
like a victim complex, they themselves will do the same thing the minute some liberals come after them and they get canceled. And it's like, it's like, yeah, I get it. It sucks. It's bullshit. But if you're not moving on with your life and trying to remedy the situation, and your whole gimmick turns into look at what these, like, it's just kind of sad and weird to me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I've lost comic book gigs and different things over silly, petty, political stuff. But like, I've and that was in like 2012 and 13, and I don't bring up who it was because it just wasn't a big deal. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it cost me some stuff and I had some issues with other people because of it, but you know what? I'm never going to just go find those people and let them know. I'm going to make sure like the next time they hear about me, it's because I'm doing better than they are, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, um, I don't know. It's just like, and especially in cases where it's someone that caters to liberals complaining about it, it's like you have even less room to go on about this horse shit. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's almost like it's like a blessing in disguise, I think, and people don't realize it. Like almost every bad thing that's ever happened to me led to some insight and wisdom that was invaluable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't really look at like bad things happening even when they're happening, maybe to the degree I should, because in my brain I'm still being like, there's still a certain level of positivity
Mm-hmm.
where I'll even think to myself like, dude, it's been way worse. This ain't shit. Remember this time in 2008 when, blah 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 was happening to you? Fuck all this stuff ain't nothing. No matter what the circumstances. So, um,
Yep.
it's just it doesn't why someone being liberal makes them less of a human being. No, it doesn't make them less credible. The problem is when they've already been a part of the problem and then they complain about the problem that they are a huge part of causing. There's less sympathy involved for their situations or their cases.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like just desserts than it is. They're not credible. They're living and breathing. They're a human, sure. It's just their pain doesn't matter as much because of the pain they've caused. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, like, if you're one of faith as well as two, God uses the lowest parts of your life to like grow closer to Him and to actually like better yourself as a person too. I mean, you see it throughout the Bible.
It's not even a deciding factor. It's just a red flag.
Mm-hmm.
If someone says they're a liberal in 2023, it's a red flag. It wasn't a red flag in 96. It wasn't even a red flag in 2000 when the Republicans were sending our children to fucking sand dunes to go die for people we don't even know or care about or have no relation to our problems really here in the States.
What
You know, there's
article?
way worse
Yeah.
people in our own government. So, you know, yeah, it wasn't as bad of a, it wasn't a red flag to me most of my life, but yeah, from 2014 to now, it makes me hesitant. It makes me on eggshells around people when they say it now, if that makes sense, because I know there's a high probability they're going to be triggered by something silly or irrelevant or a joke or just things that shouldn't be that bothersome to people.
Cheese Blaster says over on Rumble, do you realize every single comment I've made so far would be shadow banned on YouTube by now? Rumble is the future. Yes, we are multi-streaming on Rumble and YouTube. And hopefully I'll be out of demonetization limbo tomorrow with YouTube. Because they're assholes. It involves Capcom and drag queens. Oh, yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, I've heard about that. There was like one other one accidentally. Oh, here it is. You might like this, Joe. This might be something up your alley.
Okay.
We'll take a look at the other one real quick. Let's see.
Oh yeah, PC Babies was hilarious. It was actually unexpectedly hilarious. I like South Park always keeps me surprised. They're the best at making fun of absolutely everyone
Yeah,
appropriately.
do you hear this, Joe? X-Men 97 executive producer Bao DeMaio reveals series stories informed by his experience as a black gay man.
Oy, I hate to break it to him. That's not many people's experience. In fact, it's such a little amount of other people's experience that it might make his movie gay, and therefore nobody will want to see it. Not even gay people, because that might not even be most gay people's experience. But sure, guy, you're he's so edgy. He's only doing the things that won't get you in any trouble whatsoever. What an edge lord, so dangerous. Look at him with
What an
his fist in the
edgelord.
air. Yeah, what an edge lord. He's doing things that hold no repercussion whatsoever.
Oh, Shanny, you're not coming off as combative. You're all good.
She's trying to fight. She wants to go fisticuffs. She's ready to throw down.
So during Marvel's X-Men 60 Uncanny Years live virtual event, DeMaio, I guess, discussed the upcoming animated series and explained how the show came to fruition. As part of this discussion, he said, came up with a pitched it to Kevin Feige, and him and Brad could not have been more supportive and also just encouraging to make sure we got it right. What do you mean by make sure we got it right? I think one of my favorite parts was like they were really truly interested in like what my experience as a black gay man was and how it was going to inform the story we are telling. And that to them was like, that is how we're going to make this authentic, he revealed. What?
Not authentic to what? What is he talking? It's not
Yeah,
authentic
I
to
have no
X-Men,
idea
I'll
what
tell
he's
you that.
talking about. I guess they're making an animated story based on the 97 X-Men. Is that like an old, I'm assuming that's a comic series.
There was nothing relevant happening with the X-Men in any shape or form in
Oh,
1997.
okay.
Its sales were probably like the last time their sales were that low was now. So,
DeMayo,
no, there was nothing really good going on then. Like that's such a weird point in X history to pick in any shape or form. If they were going for a liberal story, tons of them in the 70s and 80s. And when I say liberal, I mean like positive themes, civil liberties, not treating people like shit just because they're a little different from you. Things treating people like humans. But they're obviously not going to pick those ones because they're positive
yeah, DeMayo then
stories.
explained because really what you're talking about with X-Men, well then why even call it X-Men? Just call it X people then or something. X-Men, isn't that sexist?
Ex-breeders.
Human thing. I don't care what your religion, your nationality, your sex, your gender. You walk into a room full of people and you've gone, oh my gosh, there's no one in here like me. And I think that is ultimately what X-Men is trying to get at. Then why are
No,
you
it's not.
wait, what? 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 He's and then they're not going to tell him no to this because he's a gay black man, because then he can just pull out the double racism and sexual orientation card. He went on, and so then I went into the desert. Wait, what the fuck? He went on and he went on. And so then I went into the desert for about 2 weeks, came up with the entire first season, and then came back. And we got Eric, Julia, and people I probably don't care about to come aboard and be like, am I screwing this up? Such amazing creative partner, parents, I call them, just moral and creative support.
Yes,
X-Men.
you're probably screwing it up, dude. You've probably never read an X-Men comic in your entire life. He hasn't mentioned the comic whatsoever.
I'm
So we know he
confused.
screwed it up.
I'm absolutely confused. And then we've just assembled a great team of really amazing directors and storyboard artists and writers just to get this right and really drill down to what I think the X-Men's always going to it's what you think the X-Men's always going to be about, which is just, we talk a lot about the dream is social acceptance and it's social justice. No, we don't.
Uh-huh.
No, fans from the past do not talk about this because one, it was so literally what you just said, Joe. Like it's already been covered, like the right way, way
Their
back.
most popular villain was a Jew.
Yeah,
Oh man. This guy is not familiar with the X-Men. A concentration camp Jew, mind you. That
yeah.
boy
That's
went
why
with
Magneto
deep.
wanted to like kill all the humans or at least rule over them because he didn't want another Holocaust to happen.
No self-awareness of X-Men whatsoever. This guy has, like
I'm
you can tell just by
I have
whatever
no
these
idea.
snippets are.
It is, but I think that I can sometimes make certain people feel alienated. And for me, it's always going to come down to I think the X-Men and what we're going to be trying to do with this series is talking about the power of empathy and how it can kind of heal these wounds that turn people against each other. No, your talk about empathy is just going to be our way is the right way and everyone else is wrong. That's what it's going to be. The thing
It's going to be about X-Men accepting each other dressed as
that
wearing
thing
wigs.
yeah, that
Say
things
that.
like racism and bigotry don't just exist. You continue. There's a reason behind it that empathy can kind of help us connect and build those bridges where we can actually say, hey, we are all different, but we have these little things that can still connect it up with us. Then why did you start off by saying that you're a gay black man? Why did you
Yeah,
have to
we built
what
those bridges in the '90s, and you flushed them down the toilet, guy. Those bridges were built, and cars were driving across them perfectly fine. And then a bunch of people, just like this director, came in with jackhammers and real hammers and smashed those bridges into tiny little pieces. You guys are complaining about the problem you caused. Go fuck yourselves. It's obnoxious.
wait, I'm kind of skimming through. So someone brought up the initial X-Men the animated series. Oh, is that what it is? Is he trying to remake the X-Men the animated series and calling it X-Men
Uh,
97?
I think you're right. I think that's what he's doing is picking back up where the old one where it stopped. That would make sense actually, because I think that series ended in '97. I didn't think about that, but yeah, I think you're correct.
That's what Chaos. That's the same thing that Sonic's Fox said. I'm black and gay. That is like the key. Wait. So after a user detailed how the initial X-Men, uh,
This cartoon is dead on arrival, brother.
yeah, the animated series was meaningful, he interjected, that is like the key point of X-Men right there. Like my parents are white, I was adopted as an orphan, and I think that right there, that power of resemblance, and I think so many people grow up not having it and mistaking the physical for resemblance and connection. I can tell you when I watched X-Men the animated series, I did not give a fuck what your skin color was. Oh my gosh. This clown. I'm not reading this anymore.
I mean, I hope when he watched it, he didn't care what the skin color was. Was that a quote from him, or was that just you saying that?
No, that was me. That was me
Okay,
saying when I watched
I thought
X-Men, I
maybe that
didn't.
was him. I was gonna be like, okay, well maybe he does get. I was gonna see the error of my way if I was wrong and didn't give him the patience. No, that was just Greg.
No, that was me. Like no one care. Like Jubilee, I believe is Asian, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
yeah,
Like
she is.
so, like I don't care.
Wolverine's Canadian. She's Asian. Psylocke's Asian. There's all walks of life in the X-Men. It was not like it was cool because it gave you variety and it made you have varieties of characters to draw reference from, but it wasn't like the sole focus of the book. If anything, if people look backwards now, a lot of it they would treat like it was just racist stereotypes, even though those were all written by super liberals of their era, you know.
Let's see. We're winding up on the 2-hour mark. We'll go ahead and I will humor Chaos Smash, and we'll take a look real quick at this Capcom advertisement.
Yeah,
Exo
Shani,
Primal.
we'll get you on sometime, and you can go to Pound Town with us and just hit us with the hard questions.
I suppose so. Yeah, we'll figure something out for sure. Let's see. We'll wrap it up with the whole Capcom apparently using drag queens for the US version while VTubers in Japan. So while Capcom Japan grants VTuber Botan early access to promote the upcoming Exo Primal, Capcom USA hosts drag stream. Oh gosh, to advertise the game's open beta. Pearson was raised by Twitter user Haru47 numero 2, who shared a side-by-side screenshot of the USA versus Japan, noting Capcom USA marketing versus Capcom Japan marketing. Yeah, I would not watch that at all. I actually wouldn't even watch the VTuber one either, because that's not my
Yeah,
bag, baby. Capcom USA stream on Twitch features drag players DeRay and Bitch Pudding. Oh my gosh, these people. These people with these names. In contrast, Capcom
people
Japan.
with these,
What's up?
just the way you said that. These people with these names. See, we are turning into boomers.
I'm restraining myself because I could go absolutely ham on
Yeah,
this, but
I know. I know.
I am a
You're
good.
trying to.
I try to be a good Christian lad. You know, you fucking feel me?
Yeah, yeah. I feel you, dude. It's tough. It's way harder to be good than it is to be bad.
Maybe if I someday go full Rumble, I'll just unleash the fury. In contrast, Capcom Japan features Hololive VTuber. Yeah, I don't really care about Hololive. Botan the VTuber is awesome and an FPS goddess. Accompanied by fellow streamers Takanai Lui and Tokoyami Tawa. Based on Twitch Tracker's third-party data, we know that Capcom's USA Twitch stream saw a peak of 553 viewers. Oh man, if only it was 666, then
Oh my.
everything would have made sense. Viewers live on Twitch, they also had an average of 422 viewers and gained 176 followers. VOD of the live stream currently stands at 634 views as of writing. Okay, so that's the USA one. Meanwhile, Botan stream saw over 115,000 viewers tuning in. Oh my gosh. It is worth noting that the VTuber has 1.31 million subscribers on YouTube, which is compared to Capcom's USA 29,900 Twitch followers. Unlike Capcom's YouTube and Twitch channels, mainly used to promote products, Botan streams are typically for entertainment, even in cases of sponsored streams. So immediately we know that like the Japanese just fucking crushed it. Please remind you what FPS means, first-person shooters. Despite the language barrier, English-speaking fans have shared highlights of Botan's live stream. Those clips showcase Botan and our friend having fun with each other's company. On the USA live stream, the two people, I'm just going to call them the two people, also took part in a dare to eat as many dino tendies and hot sauce as they could handle.
It's so stupid.
This is so stupid. So stupid. And this, look at this right here. This ties into my idea of like the Nephilim that had snake-like appearances. Look at this. You see this with drag people all the fucking time. This like snake-like appearance just furthers my belief of, I mean, the days of Noah, man, with fallen angels wanting to bring back the Nephilim or a new hybrid, specifically apparently with snake-like appearances.
Oh.
Wait.
It comes down
also appears to have prominent fake nipples and exposed cleavage. A stark contrast with Botan stream.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love nipples.
Oh
Nipples
my
roll.
gosh, what the hell is happening?
You can tug on them. You can pinch them. You can suck on them. I mean, they're like multi-purpose. Who does?
Shani says that stash, Joe. Yeah, that stash.
When I was in Houston, and Greg can attest to this, it went down, and I had like the Southern, like the Confederate general, like stash going. I might grow it back out here for Tampa. We'll see.
So deer. Oh, I guess that's supposed to say Deary. And here I am thinking it's supposed to be some sophisticated name, but it's just Deary. Would take to social media to object to the person who original tweet of the comparison, writing "lol." The amount of comments here asking what drag has to do with gaming in favor of VTubers. Well, that is true. Like, what does being a drag person have anything to do with gaming? Why did Capcom even decide to use drag people to promote the beta? Like, what was I'm legit curious what the reason is. I'm assuming to show in clarity or inclusiveness or whatever. In clarity. I don't know if that's a word, but I copyright it now.
You know what I say? They can feel proven gay. So.
Now I am all for VTubing, but generally, what inherently do VTubers have to do with the dinosaur mecha game? Seems just an unrelated as drag. Personally, I like both. Personally, I like neither. So get rid of them both, as far as I'm concerned. Capcom has been embracing political correctness for a while now. There it is. So it isn't a surprise to see the developer hosting.
You know, this may sound like stupid or unbelievable on paper in today's climate, but like in the mid-90s, like drag people were like drag queens and shit were like, I don't want to say they were trying to hide who they were. You just wouldn't necessarily suspect it because like they were mostly like normal. You know what I mean? Like they went and did their drag thing, but like they were relatively like it didn't like turn into this weird perversion outside of the space it was in. And like it's just, I don't know. I feel bad for the old school drag queens. I'll just say that because like so many of them you see now get thrown under the bus by the the alphabet community because they're like, oh, you shouldn't be showing this to kids. There's a reason I went and did it in a private club because this shit ain't for everybody.
Well, that's exactly the whole thing as well too, is that I have a friend, Crumbrion, who's transgender, and these people are activists. They don't represent the actual like drag people in the sense of they just want to be left the fuck alone. That's with transgenders, that's with the LGBTQ and all that.
These are activists.
They're activists. And the liberals will take the activists and say this is what is the correct way to represent the equality of these people. And you'll talk to actual people and be like, no, not at all. Like that, we just want to be left alone.
Yeah,
Oh
they're
my
normal
gosh.
in a weird way.
Whoops. Did not mean to click that. I mean, is there anything else worthwhile in this? Resident Evil 4 VR would be censored for a modern on. Yeah, I knew that. Oh yeah, removing the dialogue deemed sexist, which is, I think, there's like a scene where you look inside of a shed and there's like some lady like stuck up against the wall with like her face ripped open, like with a pitchfork. And I think he
Yeah,
makes the comment of like, I guess they're equal. I want to. It's like they're like, oh, there's the, they don't pretty much says they don't discriminate against anyone, which I don't see where the sexism is in it. Let me see if I can actually find the quote. Resident Evil 4 OG dialogue. Or here, we'll do Resident Evil 4 lady with pitchfork. Damn it, this is not helping me. The impaled woman with the pitchfork in their face. Let's see. Why is this so hard to find a damn quote?
what are you looking for?
I want to look up what like the quote that they're talking about in Resident Evil 4. Like this says like some of the dialogue like it didn't age well. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. Here. So this is in the original game to where lady impaled in the face says, guess there's no sex discrimination here. Get out of here, privacy terms. And then in the Resident Evil 4 VR version, they upgraded it to say, I guess no one's safe here. What? I don't get what the problem is. I don't understand.
You're not supposed to understand.
I guess
You're
so.
supposed to obey.
I guess. Well, that was fun. So yeah, there we go. We got to the topics that I was kind of interested in learning about. I wish there was a little bit more with the Justin Roiland thing, but yeah, it is
It's
what
over.
it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks to everyone who stopped by. Feel free to like and subscribe and smash them buttons.
Yep.
Thanks to the people over on Rumble as well participating. So yeah, we'll figure out what we can set up sometime down the road, Shaney. So figure out what we want to talk. And of course, we'll end with the stream of anybody new who hasn't already. Check out Death, created by my boy Joe here. We'll bring it up one last time.
JB.
Old JB. Death. It was posted in the chat. And you can also find it like on past videos. I forgot to put it in the description because I didn't know if it would be showing up.
It's all good, brother. It ain't no thing.
Ain't no thing. But as you can see, we're trying to crack that 82K. So let's crack that sucker on. But yeah, any support would be awesome. So that's something that toots your guys' fancy.
Yeah, if you like weird comic books with weird undertones and weird visuals that leads to tons of action and excitement, then it might be the book for you. And if you're not into comics and you're not familiar with comics, then it's definitely the book for you because you'll be getting started off on the right foot with something really good instead of stumbling across something that's really bad and having your optics ruined before you've even gotten deep into it.
There you go. Sweet. Well, I will catch you guys later. Tomorrow I'll probably be continuing. I've been playing X-Men Legends over on Twitch, but hopefully I'll be out of the AdSense limbo thing with YouTube because they suck. So we'll see what's up. But I am over on there, usually 8 p.m. Central Time. Usually 8 p.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday is usually when I'll either do a show or game. But we will continue that fun game because I remember playing it in the past, but I never really beat it. So we'll be continuing that and then hopefully be scheduling more guests and everything. But yeah, we will catch you guys later. Thanks for just stopping by. Adios. Have a good night.
Later, gang.